going to review the House series, or not really the series. I'm going to start out though with the background on the series so I can get to part 4. You can't really just start out reviewing part 4 really without kind of explaining what the hell, because the continuance of the series is just all messed up. The first House is just a classic. Anybody who's into horror knows that. It's one of those movies that can balance comedy and horror at the same time. You know, Sean Cunningham of the Friday the 13th fame and Last House to the Left and all that. He is, you know, these are kind of, it's almost like his series in a way, but he was behind this one, and this one, you know, I'd compare it to kind of almost like Evil Dead 2. It has that, you know, nice balance of horror and comedy, and it just works. And then I don't know, a couple of years after that, there was House 2, and you know, that was almost straight ahead comedy, but it was still a good movie. It was called The Second Story, and it was totally the second story. Like, it had no connection at all to any of the characters in the first one, and you know, so it was a whole new thing. Definitely more comedy. I think it might even have been PG-13. So then that takes me to House 4. Like I said, I always liked. Damn, that's dark. I always liked House 1 and House 2. And then, you know, they'd be ones I'd rent from time to time. And then, you know, years and years later, I see this House 4. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I've never even heard that they made a House 3. So how's there a House 4 already? You know, and I just saw it in the video store. So I never got into watching it back in the video store days, because I was like, I never heard of House 3. I didn't see House 3, so I don't want to go and see House 4 yet. And on top of that, if I never even heard of House 3, how good could that have been if you can't even find it? So House 4 probably isn't that, probably maybe even worse, who knows. But then not too long ago, I was talking to one of my buddies who knows a lot about horror, and you know, we were talking about movies that aren't on DVD, and you know, he said something about The Horror Show, which, you know, is a movie I liked as well, and I actually saw that in the theater. And they said, yeah, you know, House 3. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, that's also known as House 3, which I never knew that. At least in America, I never heard of that referred to as House 3. But yeah, so basically what happened is, yeah, House 3 is also known as The Horror Show, or was released as The Horror Show in America. And I actually saw that in the theater, and it was cut really bad, because I saw the Fangoria, I had the Fangoria cover, and it had some great looking gore in it. It was very clear when you see the movie that it got cut pretty bad. I was actually I still have it somewhere, I'm just too lazy to find it. But then, yeah, so overseas, for some reason, it became known as House 3. I don't know what the whole story is behind that. It has nothing, like, the second one obviously had nothing really to do with the first one, but it was still, you know, based around the house, where this is not at all. This one is very similar to a movie that came out the same year called Shocker, that I'm sure many of you've seen. Very similar. The killer gets executed in the beginning and comes back, and I even heard there were some where Wes Craven was working on this one first and something went wrong, or I don't know. If you know anything about that, comment below. I don't want to take too much time on these, because I'm supposed to review House 4. It also kind of reminded me, there's another movie called The First Power back then, had the same kind of plot. Killer gets executed and is coming back and all that, and right in the beginning. But on to House 4, so let me break this out. I gotta see if I can get some better lighting or something on this, but either way, you know, ended up, when I found out that that was House 3. I wanted to finally check out House 4, and I looked into it, and I saw Sean Cunningham still had something to do with it. Harry Manfredi did the music, which I really like his music from the Friday the 13th series. So some of the same people were still working on, you know, that were from the original House. So that kind of made me want to check it out. Now, it says here, down here, Home Deadly Home, you know, crossing out sweet. And I've seen on some sites it's referred to like House 4 Home Deadly Home, which I hope, you know, I hope that's not the real name of it, and that was you know, one of those things like, you know, Evil Dead 2, Dead Till Dawn, or even The House, you know, they're old, you know, on the first one of that it was Ding Dong You're Dead. So I really hope that's not, they decided to call the movie Home Deadly Home. That's pretty bad. But anyway, my review is going to have some spoilers in it, but as I said before, I don't think I'm spoiling anything with this movie, because they should have stopped it at 2, and whatever that confusion was, whatever, but you know, this one's straight to video, not available on DVD, and you know, once I've said this before, you watch it, you're gonna know why. First of all, I mean, there's a couple problems with the movie. The house, it was good to see it's the same house, but it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of a desert. You know, the first one, you know, and in a way this movie could be called House 2, or it could at least be considered House 2, because it's actually the first real sequel to the first one, you know, whereas the second isn't, and neither is the third. So this is technically House 2 we're talking about here, but the same house, but it's in a totally different spot, which that doesn't make any sense. You know, it's in the middle of the desert. They have an Indian character in this one who's explaining some type of curse, or at least in the beginning it's a curse. And you're thinking, where is this coming from? I don't remember anything like that, you know, in the original House, anything to do with, you know, any kind of Indian connection. William Catt is in it, not for long. I don't know if they didn't have the money to pay him off. He gets killed off pretty quickly in the beginning, and he has little flashbacks throughout the movie, but you know, they probably had enough money for him for a couple of days. Not that his career, I think, was going really great at that point, but I'm not here to trash William Catt, you know, the greatest American hero. Another weird thing, he has a different family in this one. I mean, I don't know if they bothered to pay that much attention to the original story, but in the original he had a, you know, an ex-wife and a son, and now he has a wife and a daughter, and no, you know, it's just, that was kind of strange. Then after he dies, he has this brother-in-law, I think it's his brother-in-law, but it's just some dumb side plot where he's trying to get him to sell the house. It's just an annoying side plot, really. And then, you know, getting down to the ghosts and all that kind of stuff, it's like, one minute they're evil and they're doing evil things, and then but towards the end they're good and they save the family, and it's like, what's going on? You know, are they good ghosts or bad ghosts? And that, you know, it ends up they were, and it's just, it doesn't, I don't know what they were thinking with the plot, as far as, I don't know if it was written while it was being made or what, but the plot just doesn't follow. It just changes in weird ways. Like, one minute the ghosts are bad, and then towards the end they're like almost protecting the family. It's a mess. It's very slow. It tries to mix horror and comedy, but doesn't do a very good job. And then this is getting too long, but I mean, it's like almost an hour before you see something happen, and when you see something happen, it's a ridiculous scene of this pizza that comes alive. And I found out a fun fact that the pizza is actually Kane Hodder, of course played Jason, but you know, I'm going to pull that one up. And you know, I found out he had something to do with this movie, doing the stunts, but now I also found out now that he was the pizza in this scene, which is pretty funny. But it's also, this scene's just stupid, as you'll see. Okay, the pizza is singing, the pizza song. Why would the girl even care? It's like singing the Domino's theme. Who does that?
Don't forget to eat your favorite
Alright,
pizza
so
and
that should say it all.